Good morning, everyone. First things first, 2 days in a row, do we have good audio? Have I fixed it? Morning, everyone. First things first, 2 days in a row. Maybe? It sounds okay. Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. This is the man that's called Bibby.
Hello.
And I feel quite robbed because what Bibby's doing at the moment is playing with a cat. So Bibby's got the enjoyment of a cat, but we don't get to see this. But I mean, come on, bring on the star of the show, Bib. God.
I can't. She's rubbing her head on my legs now, so you'll see her in a second. She'll run and jump onto the windowsill again in a minute.
But anyway, welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads for another episode of The Scoop. For those of you who don't know, my name is Graham, as I've mentioned. This is Bib, as mentioned, and we are Ice Cream Uploads. And in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video games podcast. Even if we do say so ourselves. Anyway, we are here to give you our thoughts and our impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories in the world of video games. We want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. So if you are live in the chat, please feel free to get involved over the next hour or so as we go through those stories. If you are with us live, we do go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. It's now 6 minutes past 11. Okay, I genuinely didn't realise we've lost half an hour ish or whatever. I know we went for a brew or whatever. Me and Bib spoke like 20 minutes, like 20 past 10 ish. Like, you ready? Yeah, ready. We did actually. We looked at something. I can't tell you too much details, but yesterday you may have heard us teasing something that's probably a long way off being shared with you guys. But it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. So it's Tuesday, isn't it? We've got a lot to do on Tuesdays, so it's just as and when. I mean, if it was a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'd come to expect this anyway. But on a Tuesday, it's kind of implied that we're going to be late.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, as mentioned, we do go live at 10 a.m. ish each and every single weekday. And if you are live with us, please feel free to get involved in the chat because we turn this live stream on Twitch into a podcast, a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved as the show goes on. Give us your thoughts and impressions on behalf of everyone watching and listening on demand a little bit later on. First things first, ! Loot drop. Next Monday, we will give something away. We haven't actually got the social media asset for this. Do you know what? We've kind of teased it, but we're going to tell you anyway, even though we don't have an asset. ! Loot drop is our monthly giveaway. Subscribers get entered into a prize draw. One person wins a prize every month. This month's prize, you can probably guess from the teasers that we've been doing for the last couple of days, but this month's prize is a copy of Resident Evil Village. The new game, unannounced. You will have it confirmed as being yours on the platform of your choice. Just the standard edition of the game, by the way. On the platform of your choice. So if you're a subscriber and you're in our Discord, your accounts are all linked, you get entered into the loot drop and you win a prize. And this month's prize is a copy of Resident Evil Village. As well as that, I can't confirm exactly what because we're not able to get into the studio, but we have some Resident Evil merch, so we will throw in some extras as well. So we'll get you a copy of the game on PlayStation, on Steam, on Xbox, whichever platform you want, and we'll give you some Resident Evil goodies too. Nice.
Do you get the option of digital or physical?
Yeah.
I would just do it digital.
I would say yes. It kind of. Do you know? I'm not sure.
It comes out like what day does it come out? It's 9 days from today. So is it May the 8th? I think it comes out.
I don't
Put it this way, it's actually cheaper to have it physical than it is digital.
I mean, for us,
I think it's about 70 quid a digital.
For us, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, a lot of people will prefer it digital, and it tends to be easier for us in that sense, so we can just get you a code and send it to you. But whatever way it is, we'll figure it out, and we'll discuss it with you as we usually do. Hopefully Spike doesn't win, because that will be prize number 3 that he's bagged. Some people have never won a loot drop, and Spike's won 2. He won the last month's one as well, so there you go. What did he chose Outriders, didn't he? He chose Outriders.
Yeah, Cyberpunk originally in November, was it?
December, when it came out.
December.
He won the December one. Oh, no, actually, no, he won was it the January one? I think Gag had won Cyberpunk, and then Spike may have won the game. I don't remember. Either December or January. We gave Cyberpunk away 2 months in a row, so there you go. Nice. Okay, I'm going to butcher this name. I apologise, and thank you for being here and sticking throughout all of the intro and doing the countdown and stuff. But how are you? Is it Kalyaneko? Tell me how.
It's got to be Nico, hasn't it? It's got to be Nico.
Tell me how you want me to call you, and I will call you that. I'll get it right. Well, I'll try to get it right. But anyway, good morning. Welcome into the stream. Ads, thank you very much for the host as well. Starting the disco early. That's what we like to see. Anyone that does want to drop a raid or a host or anything on the channel, even a follow, none of those cost you anything, but they do help us out. So anyone that does host the channel potentially gets us a couple of extra viewers and then does help with the spread of the show. So we appreciate you guys that do that. Thank you very much. Gagad says, good morning, gents. Good morning, dude. How are we all doing? Okay. I don't know how to break that down. So is that Kale or Kale, or is it Kalia, or is it Kalea or Neko?
I say Kale or Kalia. Nico's definitely what I'm going with.
So you choose.
I don't want to upset people.
Well, it's just because it says this is my actual name. So if the fact that it's not just like a chosen name for Twitch and it's your actual name, kind of like phonetically sound out for me, and I will pronounce it properly. I'll make it my mission to try and get it right, because it's your name. It's your name. That's your identity. I want to kind of do at least a half decent job. If I can't do a good job, I want to try to do at least a half decent job. Good morning, Mr. Garlic Clark as well. Does anyone want to type ! Garlic Clark in the chat? I mean, I know it gets typed in fairly often, but if anyone wants to just type it again, then much appreciated. Good morning, Shaggers. He says, good morning, dude. Good morning. Welcome in to the stream. We have 4 spicy stories for you today. I mean, it's actually it's a pretty good run of news. The thing is, like, obviously, when you're at the mercy of the news gods, some days you get all of the content, some days you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, some days you just have a little bit of something to go with. Anyway, today, the first article alone, we have spoken about at length in previous shows. So this has the potential to be a very spicy show with just one article covered, although we do have 4 articles and we won't stick to the first one for a lot of it. But you've all been, there we go, Iceman. That's exactly who I had in mind when I said it as well, when I said someone usually types it in.
Yeah. He always puts it. I don't want to rob him of it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to say, Iceman, I'll do it, because I know he takes great pleasure in posting that command.
Thank you for the exclamation mark, Garlic Clark, in the chat. It's the short K like Cal, so it's Kalia. It sounds more like Kalia Neko than Kalian. Okay. So is it Kalian Neko or is it Kalian Nico? Because yeah, I mean, I'm getting it. I'm going to keep asking you questions until I know what I'm saying. I want to nail this. I'm going to stick with Kalia Neko for now. But if it's Kalia Nico, then we can go that way too. So
Let's just spell it out in phonetics.
Katlian Echo or Katlian Eco. This is where someone goes, nope, completely wrong. Didn't realise you guys did a pronunciation podcast. Thank you very much, Scuds. Good morning, Scuds. Funny thing is, I mean, this article this article that we are talking about first, I shared with Bibby this morning as a result of Scuds sharing it on his feed. That's where it kind of popped up for me. And we do like a spicy football gaming talk. Obviously, we do play a lot of football video games, so that is the reason why this has popped up again. And we thought, you know what, it's a spicy mid the ball, so we jumped in with that one too.
Garlic posted this yesterday as well.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Ice cream, yeah. In the Discordian.
I was too busy. I did log into the Discord this morning, but I was distracted by the nested scenes video that Return of the Mac posted the other day. I was like, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that. But I watched it finally this morning, so I didn't even drop into the scoop one. My bad. But yes, shout out to Gary Clark and Scuds for both sharing this. So let's jump in. You want to know what it is? Well, I will tell you. Oh, not full screen, but there we go. EA. What was this advert at the top? Get out of the way. Is that like David Blaine? Is that who that is? I don't know. Anyway, EA issues strong response after leaked FIFA 21 foot document draws loot box criticism. This is written by Nathan Bliss at the Daily Mirror, so not a news source that we tend to use very often, but definitely one worth discussing. EA have issued a response after a leaked document appears to show the company planning to drive FIFA 21 players to FIFA Ultimate Team or FUT from other modes, which has attracted criticism around loot boxes. So EA has responded after a leaked internal document appeared to show plans to drive players to Ultimate Team from other modes in FIFA 21. The document, which was leaked to Canadian news outlet CBC by a air quotes gaming insider and is marked as private and confidential, features a number of points around the Ultimate Team game mode, with the document stating that FUT is the cornerstone and we are doing everything we can to drive players there. On another page of the document, it said one of their plans was to, quote, drive excitement and funnel players towards FUT from other modes and, quote, to drive consistent player journey from POS through FUT conversion, end quote, with the document appearing to be an internal EA presentation, or EA presentation material, should I say. It appears that the document was created prior to the release of FIFA 21. The first page of the document named 5 things you need to know. Okay, let me rephrase that just so that you can get the clarity. But the first page of the document named, quote, 5 things you need to know, quote, appears to show EA's strategy ahead of the launch of FIFA 21. The document states that, quote, the team is squarely focused on engaging current players through mid-September, end quote, and that, quote, players will be actively messaged and incentivized to convert throughout the summer. Do you know what? I'm going to drop with the quotes because it's just going to make it an absolute mission because this is a lot of quoting. So the second page of the leaked EA document is called Turning Up the Heat, with a document containing details about the Summer Heat Ultimate Team promo that was released last summer, stating that the company were exploring cross-platform deep discount aligned with Summer Heat content, plus assets to drive consistent player journey from POS through FUT conversion. Like the first document, the second page has 5 major bullet points with additional annotations. One of the points shows the phrase all roads lead to FUT, with an additional statement underneath which reads, content teasers and targeted Aruba messaging will drive excitement and funnel players towards FUT from other modes. Scrolly. The insider told CBC that they didn't wish to be identified, fearing professional repercussions, but they did have a lot to say about their thoughts on Ultimate Team and the reasons for leaking the documents. The unnamed source commented that although EA has consistently stated that the Ultimate Team game mode and the in-game purchases, such as loot box that are connected with the mode, are completely optional, they were shocked to see EA doing everything it can to steer players into the mode from other modes. Quotes, we can't really do anything about it because at the end of the day, the company's trying to make money and satisfy investors, the insider told CBC. You can play without spending $1, but you'll learn it takes a long time to earn coins and you'll get frustrated pretty fast. Grinding, air quotes, in video games is slang for doing the same monotonous task over and over again to the point where it's no longer fun. It seems like EA games are designed to be boring, to be a grind, and to encourage people of all ages to spend money on cards packs. For years, they've been able to act with a layer of plausible deniability. Yet, in their internal documents, they're saying, this is our goal. We want people driven to the card pack mode. So this is a very long article, but it does take a few different tangents, so just stick with us for now. Loot boxes, which feature as packs within the Ultimate Team game mode, are highly controversial but remain completely legal in the UK, United States, Canada, and across most of the world. Let me just fast forward. So, no, I won't fast forward because it actually kind of helps with the positioning. So loot boxes are a feature within video games that involve opening a mystery box or pack that can be obtained through the use of in-game currency or real-life money. When opened in FUT, the loot boxes or packs contain a random collection of in-game player items. Depending on the type of pack or loot box opened within FUT, the percentage chance of obtaining rare player items can change dramatically. Research commissioned by the gamble-aware charity found that 93% of children who play games, up to 40%, opened loot boxes, and that 12 out of 13 studies on the topic have established unambiguous connections to problem gambling behaviour. In 2018, Belgium banned loot boxes. Okay, fast forwarding. The UK government is reviewing. Okay, fast forwarding. Regarding the release of the leaked document and the Gaming Insider's comments, an EA spokesperson declined an interview request from CBC and would comment on the document, stating that the document was, quotes, marked privileged and confidential. It was being viewed without context, and interpretations of what it says are misinformed. However, EA has now made the following statement. This is the reason why I'm sticking with this article, because there's loads of different tangents and there's a lot of content in it. Anyway, this is EA's statement. Quote, we make games to be fun and enjoyable for large global audiences. FIFA is one of the largest games in the world with an incredibly vibrant and engaged community, said EA. FIFA Ultimate Team, FUT, has been part of our FIFA games for more than a decade. Tens of millions of passionate fans from all around the world love the experience, the connection to the real world sport, and the fun and excitement of competition that it provides. We seek every day to provide players with content choices that fuel their excitement and connection to the sport and their friends, which is why we're so disappointed in a recent media report about FUT, which ignored important information and context, the result being a sensationalized story with misrepresentation of the facts. The facts are... we always look for opportunities to introduce more players to game modes, to modes in our games. Our FIFA players are expecting fresh content that makes the service exciting, so that's a constant focus for us. We do not push people to spend in our games. Where we provide that choice, we are very careful not to promote spending over earning in the game, and the majority of FIFA players never spend money on in-game items. Summer is a very active time in our FUT community, and we ensure more of our new content and community events in the game are centered there. The new content that we introduce throughout the year includes extensive non-monetized rewards. Decisions to spend are always entirely optional. Nothing in the leaked document contradicts this in any way. It shows how we are supporting engagement in our game during the summer period, not spending. We take very seriously our responsibility to provide a players a safe and fun experience. We don't encourage young players to spend in our games, and we strongly recommend the use of family controls to manage the content that children are allowed to access, their ability to spend in games, and how much time they can play. Our EA platform for PC games also includes dedicated child and teen accounts so that all of our players and their parents can make informed choices about how they play. And tools like FIFA Playtime help players take control of how they play, including the ability to set limits to manage their engagement and purchasing. We also firmly disagree that FIFA or any of our games involve gambling. Regulators in multiple countries around the world have stated publicly that where there is no cash-out method, loot boxes do not constitute gambling. We take great care to ensure that our games are played as designed, including by taking action against those who violate our rules against trading outside the game. I think that's a good enough spot, I think, for us to stop. I know we're pretty much at the end anyway, but we'll leave it there because there's a lot to go over. Just as that's happening, Mr. Tharian Drake with a raid of 14. Good morning, everyone from Mr. Tharian Drake stream. How are we all doing? I say morning. It's 21 minutes past 11 for us. It's probably 21 minutes past mega early for you, but that's fine. It's okay. Welcome in. We appreciate you all being here. Tharian Drake, once again, thank you very much for the raid. We are just starting. We've just gone over our first story of the day, and we're just starting to pull it apart. When I say just starting, we haven't even started to pull it apart. The issue that we are talking about, though, is FIFA, the football game made by EA Sports, a document, an internal document about how they plan to push players into the Ultimate Team game mode and having a major focus on loot boxes, how that has drawn a lot of criticism. That's what we've kind of gone over. Anyway, babe, a lot to unpack in that article, but what are your initial thoughts?
So my initial thoughts are you could literally take out FIFA's name and put any given sports game at any point. It doesn't matter what sport it is, you could insert that in there, and it's exactly the same business model. I mean, there is mobile games out there that are free to play, so you don't have to pay an upfront cost for it, but they will have a very, 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 very high point of microtransaction sales being come through there. They will be a very profitable company by having microtransactions in their game because someone's paying for something to eventually get somewhere, whether or not it be through opening a pack or buying a skin in Fortnite. Someone wants the desire for something. Now, I agree with it. The only thing that separates, I think, Fortnite from, I mean, even PUBG to a degree as well. The only thing that separates those from the loot box mechanics is the fact that you are actually buying something to get something out of. I don't think in Fortnite, I mean, they could have been injected this season because I haven't played it yet, but there isn't a point where you could put £5 into the game and then not know what you're going to get out of it. You're either paying for the season pass or you're paying for a skin. But any sports game, and it seems to be heavily focused on sports games at this moment in time. Well, sports games are the ones, whether or not it be NBA, whether or not it be wrestling, whether or not it be football, American football, hockey. I I'm fairly certain there'll be a lacrosse game out there that does the exact same thing. It genuinely doesn't matter about what kind of microtransactions they have in the game. Somewhere down the line, insert whatever company, whatever game, and you've got the same business model. That's just how it is. That's the nature of the beast at this moment in time. But yeah, I mean, this isn't surprising to me. I would like to know who the sources are, because this is the same kind of conversations that we've been having now for the last 3 years. This shouldn't be anything new. I don't think there was anything in that article that give us a rundown or I don't know. We didn't even see the presentation that they was talking about. So this could be absolute bullshit, but it also could be highly accurate. But we kind of already know this.
See, I don't doubt that this is an article that exists. Actually, let me jump back up. There was a comment that I kind of half read as I was going through from Mr. T, but the article required so much reading that the comment has gone now. There we go. Mr. T, good morning. Says, is this so shocking, though? It's their moneymaker. Of course, they want to funnel players there. Just like Konami would want to funnel players to my club, whether you like it or not. This just makes sense. I don't get the OMG around it. Okay. Why is David talking about alarms? I don't know. But no, I agree. I don't see this as something particularly shocking for me in that sort of sense, because you will have a lot of things that you will put into internal documents that absolutely 100% do not contradict, but the kind of a juxtaposition with what a community wants. So just like Mr. T has as well, I have views of things from a community angle and from a brand angle. Obviously, we do work in the video games industry for multiple brands, so we see a lot of documents that are written purely from a business perspective. And whilst every business will want to be seen to be working on the best interests of their community, naturally, that's where the juxtaposition is. You have to wear two caps as a company, which is why being a community guy for on the front line of any of the biggest gaming communities is ridiculously difficult, is because you have to wear both caps. Then you have to mirror and satisfy the needs of the community whilst also delivering on the needs of the business. And this document from EA, I do feel some like sympathy towards the EA's guys, in terms of there was bits at the bottom saying this article was shared with this document was shared without context. In terms of you're just kind of saying funneling everyone into Ultimate Team. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as such. Pushing people into the Ultimate Team game mode that allows the business to be profitable. That's where they make their money. Just in any sort of stuff. You go to a shop, they're going to have signs of their soup of the days or whatever like that. That's stuff that they've got cheap, or stuff that's a bit more expensive, because they want to sell you that stuff. That's just business. So that stuff, I'm not bothered about that stuff. It kind of makes sense. Do I like that though? No, I don't. I mean, I do not play Ultimate Team. I don't play any real game that requires in-game purchases of that ilk. The only regular in-game purchases I do are in PUBG, and that's because it's a season pass where I get a guaranteed return on investment. I do not invest in G-Coin in PUBG, for example, to open the crates, i.e. loot boxes, because that's what they are. It's a gamble. I mean, I know that they're saying it isn't, and I know that there's all sorts of technical terminology in there where they kind of say, actually, the fact that you don't get a cash out at the end means it's not gambling. You go to a casino, you put 20 quid in, you get your chips, you go put them on a table, you gamble your chips, you get a big wad of chips at the end or not, and then you can cash them out and get your money back. That's gambling. But because you don't get your money back out of this, it's not gambling. And this is where I feel like the regulation is a problem, though. So the fact that EA want to push people into it is not a problem for me, but it's what it is that is my problem. And once again, they've basically come out and said that this is not gambling. The fact that we're pushing people into this is fine. And do you know what? You're fine. You're absolutely right. The fact that they're pushing people into Ultimate Team is fine. By the letter of the law. Is Ultimate Team gambling legally right? The letter. Right now, is Ultimate Team gambling? No, it's not. You might think it is. I might think it is, but is it gambling? No. So EA aren't legally doing wrong. You could, and this is where it gets a bit more ambiguous until it's in the letter of the law, you could say whether they are morally doing wrong. And I think that's where it comes from. The fact that EA are pushing people into it and saying it's not gambling. Obviously, that's where the real juxtaposition is. That's where the contrast is. You get kind of a free pass in saying, look, this is business practice. We have a game mode that people love. It's our most popular game mode in terms of number of hours played, in terms of number of invested users, and in terms of finances. It makes absolute sense for EA to be pushing people into foot. The bit, though, that kind of brings the criticism on them for me is that once again, sort of like, it's the only thing they can do as well. So in fairness to them, it's the only thing they can do, to puff their chest out and go, nope, it's not gambling. It's not gambling at all. Because what they're going to go, yeah, I know we do want you to play it and it is a bit gambly, but it's all right. They're not going to say that. That's all they can say. But yeah, there was the bit that drew my attention to it, though. I liked the post a minute ago, just so I could save it to come back to it. Wait, see if I can find it. It was one of Scuds' posts. There it was. And this is, you will recognize the image because it's something that we covered, I think, last year. So if I bring this up on screen, this is, there you go. The image in this article down here is from a Smith's magazine. So we covered this, I think it was October, November, maybe December-ish. But step 2 of their recommendations were: step 1, start playing Ultimate Team. Step 2, use FIFA points to open packs. This is where all of the criticism comes from, kind of in terms of legally, it's not gambling. Not yet. It might be in future, but right now, there is no. It's black and white. It's not gambling right now legally. Fact. But then they go, but you don't even need to gamble. You absolutely can play this game without the need to invest money. The grind is part of the fun. You don't need to do it. But obviously, we've covered it previously. We're opening up old wounds. The fact that they're pushing you into using FIFA points off the bat, that shows you that, yeah, it's one team not speaking to another team and so on. But if they're having internal documents and their focus is to push people towards putting money into the game, you do not need to put money into the game. But for the majority of people, it's not super enjoyable to play it without putting money into the game. Most people that I know that do not put money into video games will happily start FIFA with 80 quid of coins, of points, or whatever the heck they're called, to start for the season. I do not know any other video game that will make my mates do that. Okay, 50 quid, 60 quid for the game, 80 quid for my points to start myself off. Yeah.
That's why I just play Volta.
Yeah,
I'm one of the very few people that enjoy it.
Let's jump back up through the comments. Anyone else want to talk about Volta? It's a shame we don't have the Volta alarm anymore. We used to have that all the time. It needs to be like a seasonal alarm. When FIFA comes out, we'll have a Volta alarm for about 6 weeks, and then Bibby gives up on it.
Yeah. I've just seen Scuds' comment then about it being the game model or the loot boxes, the gambling for me, the fact that we're having this conversation about a 3+ game. There's a lot of things that I can go into regarding that. And the top and bottom of it is, I know this is going to sound so shit. I don't have kids, but if it's a gambling game, fair enough. The 3+ is a little bit of a hit and miss thing, but the kids shouldn't be able to have access to that anyway. If you was, I don't know because I've never set one up, but is there parental controls on your console for kids not to be able to access any kind of monetary part of the video game without it having a card in there? So, for instance, if I had a child who's 8 years old and was massively into Ultimate Team and they was using their own account, but I put parental controls on there, is there a way that I can stop them from accessing card information?
Yeah,
because that's how you stop it. Because it's the same way as them not signing up to Sky Bet.
But that's kind of the thing is, though, is like you don't need Sky Bet to watch the football kind of thing. Sky Bet is something different. It's a flawed analogy, but no, I completely agree with what you're getting at. That you don't need to have the payment stuff in there. Kids can play it. You can set it up so they can't go off and purchase things. But arguably, you are. There is what's the word I'm looking for? It's more difficult to play the game without that finance. It's engineered in a way that finance is. It's not pay to win, but you can understand why people would say it's pay to win. You absolutely can. It's guaranteed not pay to win because you can do it without paying. It's been proven many, many times. Just because it's been proven that you can doesn't mean that it's as accessible. It's as easy. There is a benefit for the paying to win prospect. So yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Jenkins. I'll read. Sorry, got big. I saw Jenkins and got excited.
We're talking about it like kids should be entitled to be able to spend that money within the game anyway, though. Like when I was that age, Ultimate Team wasn't even a thing. But if I couldn't afford a game, then that was it. Like if I wanted to get something on RuneScape, I couldn't afford it. Like it's just the way it is. Why are we talking about it like kids should be entitled to be able to spend this money in the game anyway? If they've got no access to card information, they might have a bit of a bad time. But we're kind of looking for. There's always horror stories about kids getting their mum and dad's card information and spending like $2,000, whether or not it be on Fortnite skins or 1 million packs within the game. Like there is no way that kids should be entitled to do this anyway. If that's the case and it's a 3+ game and they get locked out, what tough shit. Like they're not allowed to go into a bookies. They're not allowed to go into a pub. What more can you do?
The thing is, though, they're not allowed to go into a bookies and a pub, but you don't stick a bookies inside a nursery. You don't build a pub or have a draft pump inside a nursery. It's like, I know that looks really good, and we know we kind of saying, oh, that would make.
I would fucking love that.
Yeah, fucking tell me about it. But yeah, I mean that's the kind of overlying thing is, okay, you can play it, you can do all of this cool stuff. Okay, you can have a really crap tap next to the big pump with all of the amber nectar inside it, but yeah, you'll get some, not even Vimto, you'll get like Vonto, you get some knockoff version that's just not quite as good.
Ribena.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you still have access to the entire mode. Like, fair enough, it might be a little bit more grindy and stuff like that, and you might not have the entire excitement, because you can still open packs, don't forget. You can still get coins, and you can still open packs. Like, you're a child. Like, if you want to use your pocket money, that's absolutely fine. I understand where everybody's coming from, but I still always think it's a duff argument, because kids, if they take the mum's or dad's cards or whatever, and they spend it, that kid's a little bastard. He doesn't deserve to be anywhere close to that anyway. It's not because he's missing out. He's just a fucking little thieving bastard, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's robbing stuff from the local corner shop. But the kids can still have access to all of this stuff without the gambling element into it. And I know this is definitely me playing devil's advocate with this stuff, and I don't honestly agree with everything that's coming out of my mouth. I'm literally just saying it's the other side of the coin. I don't play foot, so I've got no foot in this race.
Full on TalkSport, and you always get like Goffey and Durham or whatever, and one of them just goes, "No, fuck you! I love racism in football," and you're all like, "What the fuck?" So Bibby's doing that, by the way. But yeah, but no, they
can still play the game mode. They don't have to spend money. I know it's an easy way of trying to build a team and having that excitement of, again, you say it's a flawed argument, it absolutely is, but the excitement I get from going into a casino, because I know if I go in with like 100 quid, I know I'm not going to walk out with anything, but that's my money I'm willing to part with. But me putting a quid into a fruit machine or whatever and then coming out with £200, that's exciting. They may rob themselves of that in terms of using their mums and dads or their own credit cards if they've got a gambling problem. But ultimately, if this is the point that we're trying to make, that it's a 3+ game, they can still play the video game mode. They're more than happy to be able to do that. It's just they don't have access to be able to spend somebody else's money that they haven't earned.
The thing is, though, is like you can grind it and so on in game, but is even that okay? The fact that you go to a casino and you take 100 quid, that is mature, and that is already kind of dividing the point. The fact is that these kids, by definition, are immature. They haven't matured, so they need to be protected. The fact that you have made the decision to take out £100 and that is your threshold isn't even something that all adults can do. Mature people don't necessarily have that level of financial maturity. Gambling has been proven to be addiction. So if you give it to someone that doesn't have the facilities to fight that addiction, i.e. kids, and if you say, okay, you just play, smash your hours and gamble, you got nothing. But you can try again. If you just do this and you smash your hours. Oh, but actually, do you know what? It took you about 3-4 hours to do that. You can just put 8 quid on it. You can just do it again. Yeah. And that's, it's the, but your next one, I might win it next time. That prime icon Pele, Ronaldo, I don't know if that's the right words, by the way. Prime moments, icons or something. I don't know. It's something like that. You can tell I don't play FIFA. But that's the point, is it's building those gambling behaviors in people that don't have the necessary levels of maturity. I mean, there was a good bit in the actual article that touched on that. I'm going to quickly look to try and find it, but it's the longest article in the history of long articles. So
Casinos don't have that though. Don't forget. Like, if you was to walk into a casino, they have no idea that you may have a gambling problem, but are still happy to take money from you. Like, there's no way that you can stop that from people. Like,
but they do have legalities to protect that in terms of if you go to a casino, you are more likely to be at risk of gambling exploitation if you are under the age of 18. I know that's obviously a generic number, but it's a number that's been recognised by governments around the world as being a cut-off age. So gambling do have some filters, and also for most casinos and things like that, if you let them know in advance. Say if you go to stay in a hotel that has a casino in it and you say, look, I have a gambling addiction, they will cut you off. You can override it, I think, or something like that. But basically they have, I've never looked into it, but they have put things in place that will allow you to be protected, and they will act on your behalf. You need to give them the consent to do that kind of thing, but they will say, nope, you're not having this. And or that you let them know you're an alcoholic, they will unstock the minibar and restock it with milkshakes and things like that. So that's kind of thing, like, some people know that they don't have, and maturity is not the right word for this because it makes people sound immature because they are addicted. It's not what it is, but just because of the context of where I've used it before, I'll say immaturity. If people know that they are immature, they can ask casinos and hotels and whatever to act on their behalf for this. Children don't even know that they're immature because they're not mature enough to know that they're immature in that sort of sense. So this is a bit, I found a bit here anyway. Research commissioned by the Gamble Aware charity found that of the 93% of children who play video games, 40% of them open loot boxes, and 12 out of 13 studies on the topic have established unambiguous connections to problem gambling behaviour. So 40% of children are doing loot box stuff, and almost all of them have led to gambling problems. I know that, obviously, that's my take. You can tell from my take that I don't play loot boxes anyway. If I played games that had loot boxes in them, maybe I'd have a different stance. But for me, reading that sort of information, I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't need it. I would rather me and my daughter play Fortnite and pay for a skin, pay for a battle pass. I would be firmly in the camp of that, because I know that is something where, she's 11. I'm pointing like she's here. She's at school now. She's no longer locked in the house. But I know that she will see the value of money much more being an impressionable 11-year-old that skin is $4.99. So if you want it, you have to do £4.99's worth of work, as opposed to that player is potentially 79p. Okay, it wasn't 79p. Do you want to try again? Okay, it wasn't 79p. Do you want to try again? Okay, it wasn't 79p. Oh, it was 79p this time. So that player was only £3 something or whatever. And she's like, oh no, result pretty cheap. But the next player's 48 quid. And the next player's 250 quid. And the next player's only fucking £1.58 or whatever, £1.38. I can't remember. I can't do maths. £1.58. I think it was right first time. I don't know. But yeah,
see, this is another thing in it. Like, I have been subconsciously gambling since I was probably 6 or 7. Like, it wasn't Ultimate Team back in my day; it was Panini stickers and Kinder eggs and whatever else that I could get my hands on. That if you had a sticker book of, I don't know, Pokemon cards. So we've always been subconsciously gambling. I'm just one of the lucky few that hasn't been able to, I've got an addictive personality. And I know this is, I blocked all of my gambling accounts way back when. I did one of the 5 to 1,000 gambling things. And I got to like £40, put it on some fucking Iranian second division team, and then ended up losing the 40 quid. I thought, do you know what? This isn't for me. This isn't my bag. If I wanted to lose £40, I'd rather go to a casino, because I know £2 blackjack hands, I'm going to enjoy that a lot more. So I cancelled all of mine. But when I was a kid, all I wanted was Panini stickers for my sticker book collection. I wouldn't be able to do that again now, but I know it's going to cost me a lot of money. The thought of going in and spending £30 and then getting a shitload of trades and then having to go out and spend another £30 and another £30, it doesn't frighten me. I'd just much rather spend money elsewhere doing other things. So it's a lesson learned for a lot of people, and that's easy to say when I don't have a gambling habit. But ultimately, not everyone can help you. And I know that sounds horrible, but you've got to seek help yourself if that's an area that you think you're getting into. I'm lucky enough that I have mind that can help himself and stop himself from doing stuff like that before it gets to a degree where I think I'm going to lose a lot of money, or I'm going to spend money on stuff that I shouldn't. A lot of people don't have that, which is why they have gambling problems, which is why they have alcohol problems, which is why they have problems with other areas of their mind.
You've got that good level of self-awareness that you've been able to put things in place to stop you from being susceptible to any of those elements, so be that using your gambling accounts or whatever. So you have that level of self-awareness, to use the word that I've used previously, and shoehorn it onto that. So you have the maturity there. Is the issue then the fact that, I mean, it was mentioned in the chat, I don't know if it's Scuds or Mr. T, it may have been both. Is the issue then the fact that, not the fact that these games allow for loot boxing of that style, because that is arguably very enjoyable for a shitload of people. Is it the fact that it's accessible to people that don't necessarily have the maturity to be able to deal with that? Is that 3+ sticker on the box? Is that the problem?
It's both, in it. It's both. Because there's two elements to the game. If you was to have an under 18s version of the game where it's just free to play, that's already in the game. That is already in the game. You don't have to spend a penny. If you are under 18 and you don't have the facilities to be able to generate your own money through a job, or you are just young, or you're young and under 14, you can't get a job yet, you can only get a paper round, you don't have a bank account, blah, blah, blah. Or if you have a problem where you're 18 or 18 plus, playing the game probably isn't in your best interest, or not having your credit card on the account is probably not in your interest. I am definitely not the right person to be able to speak about this. All I can speak is from my own experiences. I would never want to speak for anyone else when it comes to gambling or alcohol or anything, because I don't have those problems. It'll be rude for me to be able to do that and speak on behalf of people who do have these problems. But if you are young and impressionable anyway, if you want a free to play version of the game, that's already in there. And this goes for all sports games or any games that has microtransactions, whether or not it be a mobile game or what. That versions of the game for FIFA specifically are already in there. It's just part of the main mode. Now, I know it's one of the things about it being the playground that people will have, I don't know, £50 put aside for them, or someone will get pocket money without even having to fucking lift a finger. Someone will get 20 quid a week from the grand and granddad and they'll put it straight into the video game. My brother was exactly the same. He was mad on Fortnite skins. He's now doing the same with Rocket League. So the only way he can get that is by doing stuff for me, my nan, my mum. That's the only way that I can give him money. I prefer not to give him the money to be able to put into the video games, but if that's what he gets his kits from, who am I to say otherwise? But he's monitored.
That's not. I mean,
it's absolutely monitored.
And so the thing there, though, is like he's still getting a return on his investment. He's putting his money into getting something back. He's not putting his money into chance. So if you give him,
but if he was playing FIFA, he'd be still doing the same. It's just that he has no interest in football whatsoever.
But it's that extra step, though. From your point, you're just giving him 15 quid and he's spending it on video games. But from his point, it's the behaviours that come as a result of that. So if he puts his money in and he gets what he wants back, that is a transaction. If he puts his money in and has a chance of getting his money back, that's surprise mechanics or gambling. If you're in a casino, they'd call it gambling. That's kind of how that works. I know, obviously, you can't cash it out, but I do get the similarity with panini stickers and things like that, because I used to have panini stickers and had them for many years. And even like the last World Cup, I think we all got them in the office because they were free in the spa around the corner. So naturally, we all started with that. Obviously, kick off the gambling addiction. But the thing with that, though, is you have something at the end of it. You have something that you will then keep. It's not something that's tied to a specific game. It's something that you can trade, and every sticker has the same value. If you open up a sticker collection and you get, I don't want to think someone that's not like a Ronaldo or Messi. Let's say you get Gabby Jesus. Foden. There you go. You get Phil Foden. In a football game, he is, let's say he's 87 overall, and I get Titus Bramble, who's 4 overall. In a football game, nobody will ever think about, I don't want this. So Bramble has no value. Foden has an in-game numerical value, whereas in a sticker collection, it's, I need that to put in the space in my book. I'll trade you. Nice, boom. That's it. Instant trade. Everything has the same value. Shinies, obviously, I mean, you could. There were unwritten rules as how that worked. Some people would just do a shiny and I need that Phil Foden. You can have my shiny Ronaldo for it. Others will be like, yeah, but I've got shiny Ronaldo. That's like 10 stickers. That whatever. People did make their own sort of economies based off of that, but the underlying principles were that they were all the same. There was no weighting or additional values to that sort of stuff. So you could get 6 stickers or 7, whatever it was, and they all had a set value unless they were shiny. Unless they had that like free packet of like medium fries from McDonald's on the back of it, then that stuff was big things. Yes, I will take that, please. But like they all had the set value. Whereas if you open up a pack on foot, there is a good chance that whilst there is value on them, there's a good chance that you will get nothing in there. You can get less than you've actually put in for, in theory. So that's where I mean, there's all sorts of, you can unpin it. We'll probably get ready to start putting the pin into this conversation because if not, we'll be here for hours. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm asking as if you've not been giving your thoughts. The chat has been rolling. I know that there's a lot to go back through. I probably will miss some comments. Just saying it now. I'm going to go back through and try, hopefully pick out some of the best ones. But yeah, what were you going to say then, babe?
I think that what this comes down to is whatever your agenda of it is, whether you're for or against it. I don't think we're ever going to see the end of this unless something comes in and there's a regulator that comes in and says, right, you're not doing that right, you're not doing right. This is going to be best practice, and the best practice gets rolled out for all games. We are never going to see the end of this. So there will always be two sides of the coin. For me personally, I don't have a gambling problem or anything like that, but I don't play online video games a lot. Like I tend to be shit at them. So I tend not to spend that much time with them. I'm much more of a single player game. So I haven't really got, again, a dog in this race. But I do hope at some point there is a regulator that comes in and tries to look at everything. You will never please everyone with this. You will genuinely never please everyone because there is content creators out there that create thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of revenue for themselves by putting thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth into this game. So you're going to piss them off. You're going to be pissing off people who don't have a problem, that have 40 or 50 pound a month to be able to put into the game, that they play all year, and that's what they spend with their free time. They'll come home from work, they'll play it. They're happy to spend 50 pound a month because it's excess money. You'll piss them off. And then there's obviously the fact that the game is a 3+ with these gambling mechanics within the game. You're looking after those, but alienating everybody else. So there is always a give and take with this. You are never going to please everyone.
Is the happy medium then that the game should have foot elements and packs and stuff in it, but that should be behind an age wall? Is that what it is? Should it be?
It's in there now.
What's that?
It's in there now.
How do you mean?
Because you can play the free-to-play version of this game. I.e., you obviously bought the game, but you can play foot now without putting a penny into it, regardless of what age you are.
Yeah, and this is where the level of plausible deniability comes in for EA. The fact that you technically can, is that plausible deniability? Is that going, well, you can play it for free, but can you play it to its extreme? Can you do everything in there? Are you likely to get the team that you want without, like, being held at fate? Yeah, if you play it for long enough and you do enough dealing, if you do enough trading, if you do enough of the SBCs and stuff, you will get to a point where you will get the team that kind of resembles something that you want. But is that where we
want and need are two different things? Don't forget.
Well, yeah, exactly. But let's stick with one, the team that you kind of want. I mean, that's the point. You play a game to get to what you want to be. I want Ronaldo, Messi, if we're obviously forgetting the icon situation, Ronaldo, Messi, potentially Mbappe up front, and then that kind of thing. I mean, okay, well, they're all super, super rare, so I need to be super, super lucky or do shitloads of grinding to get to that point. Just because you can do that, the point I'm saying is that should this be a case of, okay, that sort of stuff where it's very heavily weighted, should that be behind a paywall? Because there is a need for this. There is a need for this content. Just because it's something that I don't want Chloe playing and I don't want to play myself doesn't mean that people don't enjoy it. There's a reason why content creators open packs a lot of the time, not playing games. And a lot of content creators will tell you the reason they open packs is because they make gameplay content. It'll get 100 views or 1,000 views. We'll stick with 100 because they're easy numbers. They'll make a video, it gets 100 views. They make a video you're doing packs, it gets 1,000 views or whatever. They get more views on the packs than they do on the gameplay content because everyone can watch gameplay. nobody can get like that. The thing with the pack opening video is you essentially get a microcosm of the enjoyment of football. You see the players, you recognize them, you know what their values are. You can see the excitement of the players, and you can relate to that, or the content creators, and you can relate to that, or the disappointment, and you can relate to that as well. So there's arguably a reason for this. This content has an undeniable place in the world. You can't argue that. FIFA wouldn't be as big as it is if it wasn't valuable content. So
I agree.
So should that content exist, but should they be looking at a more child-friendly version of foot? It almost seems like there's two sort of tracks in my mind. The way I'm kind of like going down this in my mind is now is you should be able to play the free-to-play foot that's not in the same realm as the pack stuff, because you play career mode, you can build your team and you can great, nice. That's kind of what you want with foot, but obviously not as predictable. But you can't really do that really without some form of investment. Other than that, it's the grind, and the grind by definition again isn't enjoyable. If we're going by the definition that they put in this article, by the way, a grind is playing something so much that it becomes not fun. But that's part of the process, and you want to play foot because it's fun, and it arguably is fun for a lot of people. But if you have to grind it, then you've lost the fun just to get to what you want or what you need. Arguably, both of them are behind the grind wall kind of thing. Yeah, grind wall sounds like some sort of. Yeah. anyway, okay. You get where we're coming from. You can kind of get the points that we've kind of been making. Let's see what you guys have been saying. I appreciate the fact that there is a lot of comments. Okay, let's jump on. Scuds is the first one that I've seen, and he brought the article to my attention. So I don't know if they could have been comments leading up to these. I may get them out of order, so apologies, because there's a lot. Scott says, I would refer to myself as a problem gambler who has had to self-educate on gambling websites. I've had an issue with overspending on loot boxes, and it was always the same, chasing the dream adrenaline. It should be regulated somehow. There should be commissions to help, and it should be age restricted, including removing reference to loot box in-game currency for loot boxes for people under the age. Tito says, loot boxes are gambling. The US definition describes the chance of obtaining something of value. It doesn't state monetary value. If something isn't of value, then it wouldn't exist. Loot boxes must trigger the same chemical response in the brain as gambling. Also, EA's latest controls surrounding loot boxes are identical to gambling. That says everything you need to know. Kalyaneko responding to Tito's comments about removing loot boxes won't solve the problem. Removing the element of chance will reduce the overall cost, but instead game companies will increase the base cost. Where you have a chance of spending something for £1, you'll be buying it outright for £5, for example. See, I think that's kind of part of the course, though. You can't just like go, okay, £1 for a chance. Actually, do you know what? You can buy it for £1. So it kind of goes hand in hand that you'd have to increase the base costs, but that's what you get for the guaranteed return on investment. That's what makes gambling so inspiring. The fact that I can put £1 or £2, whatever it costs for the lottery now, and get 1 million. If I was going to guarantee myself to get 1 million, it would cost me 1.5 million or something like that. We'll give you 1 million. Just give us 1 million. No.
But there is no stopping that model. There is no stopping that model. There is no way that you can put a price on something that's going to be agreeable to everyone, because all they're going to say is, oh, that price is too high. How do you think someone's going to have a gambling problem? You can't stop it by just putting a value like that, because who's to say that Haaland, you get a 91 rated card? Cool. £5. No worries. I could do that. A month later, there's a Haaland card, 93 rated, £20. Okay, a bit more expensive than the previous one, but it'll do well in my team. New Haaland card, 96 rated, £50. Okay, where does it stop? Because the way that FIFA do the cards is just constant. Like, it's just there's always something to do in that, whether or not it's an SBC, whether or not you're getting your rewards from foot, whether or not it's team of the season, whether or not it's the icons, whether or not it's the frees. There's always something for them to be able to put a monetary value on, whether or not it's behind a paywall of a surprise mechanic, or that way putting a price on particular players that will get more expensive as the season goes on because they're playing better. What's the difference? I personally don't think there is one.
What, in terms of, you don't feel there's a difference in increasing prices going forward for the content? In terms,
because they're still dictating how much something's going to cost. Fair enough. it's not the Kinder Egg surprise, because you kind of you are getting something out of the end of it, but they ain't gonna the price is gonna be ridiculous. It's the same as, I don't know, buying an account for World of Warcraft off eBay. You kind of know what you're getting, but the price is going to be extremely high because someone's leveled the characters up to the tippity top. You're buying a player at the tippity top of the game, but there's no price that they can put on that will stop everyone from buying it.
See, that that's the thing though, is this is where it starts to get difficult. By saying we don't think it's right, that's the first step. The much bigger step is, how do you then make it right? What is right? By putting a price on a player? Does every player have a same price, or so on? Because one of the best things about FIFA is content. They mentioned within that game, within that article, that EA are pushing people into FUT because one of their tasks is trying to keep content coming throughout the year, trying to make people see the value of being a part of that game. And you could read that as PR bullshit. Okay, we want people to play FUT because all the new content, you also want to make it, want them to play it because it's profitable. But let's take away that and let's listen to their points. They want people to jump into FUT because of the content, and FUT has incredible content. I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm watching FUT streams. I do watch quite a lot of them, if I'm being honest. And over the last few weeks and months, I've seen Prime Packs, Prime Icon moments. I've seen Red Picks. I've seen Team of the Season stuff coming in now. What Ifs, FUT birthdays. That's in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe a bit longer. Fucking all that content. There is shitloads in there. So if everything has increasing values of prices, how do you do that in a way that you, like, players can players being, no, users, we'll use the word users so it's different from players. Users can get the players that they want without spending ever increasing fortunes, because that's difficult. Video games that have been successful in monetizing their content in ways that give guaranteed returns on investments and ditch gambling activity are Fortnite, are COD. Look at how successful COD has been. But COD doesn't need to provide you a database that has, I mean, how many professional footballers? I think PES has like, what 3 to 20? It's between 3 and 20. I know that's a very large ballpark of numbers, but thousands of players. COD goes, oh, here's a bunch of weapons and a new skin. There you go. That's 10 quid, please. And they can just give you a small, like, shopping list of what you will get on your return on investment and give you missions towards it. If FIFA did that, where it had, say, like a season that was a month long, you would get 9 seasons. And if I've seen 9 campaigns in FIFA in the last 9 weeks, effectively. So that would squash what they do in terms of delivering content for their in-game stuff. So does that work? Not quite. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what the solution is. What I would say is, yes, I would like gambling elements to be lifted out of Ultimate Team. I would like to see Ultimate Team. I don't want to use the word light because that gets used for quite a lot of things, for like stripped down versions. But Ultimate Team Light, let's go with it. Fuck it, I can't think of a better word. So Ultimate Team Light, which is the one for, or Ultimate Team Junior, the one that's aimed at kids, where you kind of like your kids can play through it and they don't have to do the gambling packy stuff, and then you can go for the full Ultimate Team, which is the one that's aimed at adults and is put behind the sort of like the maturity wall. Sticking with the word that I used before previously, obviously it doesn't just mean maturity. That's what I would kind of like to want to go with. But then how do you make that FUT Junior fun and accessible if you're just kind of getting naff guaranteed returns on investments? It's difficult. It is difficult. I don't know what the solution is. And I know it's rich by saying I don't agree with the gambling stuff. I do not agree with the gambling stuff for everyone, for children. If you want Ultimate Team that doesn't have the gambling elements in, well, that's just tough tit. I want to win the lottery, and sometimes I don't get what I want. But yeah, having that in a 3+ game, I agree with the sentiments that a couple of people said that that's not the correct placement for it. I agree. How did they do that right? I don't know. If they knew, they'd do it already. So it's yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that question for them. It's difficult.
Or would they?
That's the first time I've ever heard Bibby say tippity top. Respect. Actually, incorrect. He says tippity top, ironically, when he's doing disrespect. He's only halfway up. He's at the tippity top. No, tippity top, but I'm halfway up. Think about it.
We have no idea what they'll be able to do to try and make it better for everyone. As I said, I don't think there is no cut and dry method to this. There is a lot of people who are advocating child gambling and stuff like that, or maybe gambling habits themselves. That's a good fight to fight. what about the people who are happy to be able to spend X amount of money? Is it right for those to have that privilege taken away from them? I
But
don't know. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't think that should be taken away from anyone. This is what I'm kind of saying. Like, there should be, in theory, and this is, I mean, I can unpick my own suggestion apart instantly. There should be, in theory, the junior mode, which doesn't have that sort of stuff in it. But you absolutely know if you give someone, it's like, and this is once again a flawed analogy. It's like saying, do you want Coke or do you want like half strength Coke? And it's like, when I mean this, I mean like the liquid, not cocaine, because fuck's sake. But I don't want to say Diet Coke, because a lot of people like Diet Coke. For me, I don't, so let's go with that. Okay, do you want Coke? Do you want Diet Coke? Well, I don't want none of that fucking half-ass shit. Give me full fat Coke, yes please. And that's kind of like that. People won't choose to watch the Foot Junior stuff. So is that going to work? Kind of not. But like I said, there is immense value in what Foot is. It has led to this huge area of video game marketing. So there's definitely a lot of people that want it there. And it wouldn't be fair to take it away from everyone that wants that. But also, I don't think it's fully fair on everyone that doesn't want that either. Like I say, how do we fix that? Don't know. So I will just leave that problem with you. Good luck, boys. Yes. Mr. T says there's a deeper educational issue around the games as a whole. Most parents still see games as a thing for kids, but the medium has evolved into something more mature and still is. I would hope from our generation onwards, as we become parents, they are not seen like that and are smart enough to educate our kids. I agree. Let me see. Kalineka says, I agree. I kind of agree with that. Parents think that the kids know that this is a game, and at some time this game will get boring. So it's like you lose money. I am for and against it. Well, neutral. No, I think that's the thing though. A lot of people are for it and against it in different ways, which is perfectly fine because it's a complex situation. My issue, my overriding issue, not overwhelming, is that I do see these behaviors as gambling behaviors. I don't care what game you're talking about. I do see them as gambling behaviors across the whole. Would I blame any business for doing that? No, because it's not illegal. I would like to lobby for change in terms of I would like to see it being reflected in law and then reflected in content. Until the laws say it, I'm not going to hate any video game company because it's the lawmakers that are ultimately in charge. And if the laws aren't reflecting it, then video game companies, whilst it might be morally or ethically wrong, it's legally fine. So, yeah, my lobbying would be at the rule makers. Make the changes and then force the change. If you can't expect someone to kind of, do you know what? He's going to do the right thing despite, he's going to lose millions and billions of profit because he's a nice guy, EA or whoever. They're not breaking the law. So it's whilst it's shit on them, it's shit for them to do that. The problem is higher. The problem is bigger. I think that's where we need to come down. Force it from the top down. Pointing the finger at EA is easy to do. And they are making mistakes, and so are a million other brands out there in that sort of sense. They're not though. They're not making mistakes legally. They're not ethically. They are. So yeah. So I'm gonna stop. We'll put a pin in there. We will put a pin there. I'm just gonna jump back up and see. Kalineko says, but the problem is that you can hardly hold the kids from buying in-game things recklessly because you can easily create an 18 plus Google account in the internet and they can buy things which you can actually buy for 18 years in games. I mean, if the PlayStations have been locked down though, then they will stop the in-game purchasing kind of element of it though. Ms. Reese says, hey everyone, how are you today? Good morning. Apologies if there's anyone that's dropped into the stream and said hello. Apologies if I haven't reacted because there's a lot of comments. There's a lot of conversation. I did see Jenkins. Nice. Good morning. Chucky, good morning. Kalineko says, I like grinding more because of the satisfaction when you're done with 4 hours just mining. And I get that. The grinding element it's that risk-reward scenario, but grinding to get the reward is good. That's where you got to respect the grind because people achieve it. But it's the balance, though. Grind is a balancing act. if you like the grind to get the reward, then arguably you're not grinding because you are just working towards the reward. And if the reward outweighs the grind, it's not a grind. It's just par for the course. If the grind isn't worth the reward, then that is absolutely a grind. You're not getting the benefit from it. So why would you repeat that behavior again? That's the kind of thing. Where did we get to? There we go. But what I always discuss with my parents is that there should be a class in school which shows us what you can use the computer for, except for gaming or chatting or looking up videos and so on. Says Kellen Echo. Parental responsibility. Yeah, I mean, that is the bit that I've tried to keep away from in this one, because that is kind of where we've spoken on before. That's where we've had angles. The angles of the conversations have gone previously. There is undoubtedly a lot of responsibility on the parents. It does not stop with the video game companies at all. I mean, I've showed that in terms of the way that I would rather Chloe spending on certain things or whatever. Parents need to be involved too, but so do video game companies and so does the government. So it's all that. It's all that. Okay, final one. Well, if it's PEG 18, then 1, it causes some concern at the point of sale from a parent, and 2, if parental controls are set up on consoles, they won't be able to play it. Exactly, and that's once again difficult. Can you have 18 plus content in a game? I don't think you can. So that would just lock the entire game off. Do they have to have a separate game? Do video games providers, first parties, need to evolve too to incorporate that? So difficult. Anyway, thank you everyone for that discussion. We will move ahead now though. Onto, do you know what? Let's jump onto a different form of sport that involves a ball. This is something that myself and Bib have been looking forward to quite a bit, actually, and it's free. Well, it is for us anyway, in some form or another.
Yeah.
If you want to know what we're talking about, it is this. Tom Ivan at VG says, Mario Kart Live Studios dodgebrawl game will launch on Xbox Game Pass and EA Play. I find that well bizarre, the fact that they don't actually say what the name of the game is in the title.
Yeah.
But it does in the subtitle. Full price version of Knockout City will cost $19.99 when it's released in May. But you can get it free on Game Pass and EA Play, as it says just there. Anyway, jump into the article. Mario Kart Live developer VLAN Studios' team-based multiplayer game Knockout City will be available through Xbox Game Pass for Ultimate and PC subscribers and EA Play on all platforms at launch. Releasing on May the 21st, 2021 for PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC on Origin, Steam, and Epic Games Store, and PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Through backwards compatibility, the dodgebrawl game will support full crossplay and cross-progression on all platforms. Exhale. What the fuck? Basically, you can play it on your Samsung smart fridge. Nice. So a limited time free trial will also be available at launch, with the game regularly priced at $19.99. Players who choose to purchase the full game following the free trial will be able to transfer all their progress. According to publisher EA or Electronic Arts, over 1 million players recently participated in a crossplay beta for the game, which, quote, brings intense battles to players as they master the art of throwing, catching, passing, and dodging in a highly competitive experience with joyful surprises popping up around every corner. The title will launch with 5 starting playlists, 6 special balls, 5 multiplayer maps, and 1 interactive environment where players and their teammates can practice. New York-based VLAN Studios was formed by the founders of Skylanders developer Vicarious Visions. Quote, at VLAN, we obsess over finding new play experiences, CEO Karthik Bala said in February. Knockout City starts with a deceptively simple concept of throwing and catching a ball and layers in an incredible amount of skill, depth, and style for a refreshingly fun, competitive multiplayer experience that you have to play to believe. Bib, we played this.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the fact that you're coming free to play on Xbox Game Pass, on consoles and PC, on EA Play, across all 27,000 platforms that are currently available to play this game? What are your thoughts?
I've saved myself 20 quid.
Me too.
Because I probably will end up playing this on my PC. I've got Game Pass on my PC. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before.
I don't know.
But I have Game... Not that we mention it every single show or anything, but yeah, I've got Game Pass on my PC, so I'll probably end up playing it on this one. But I cannot wait for this. We had an absolute blast playing it. It's so Easy to pick up. I hate this phrase so much. It's easy to play, difficult to master. I fucking hate that phrase more than anything. But my God, if there was ever a game that falls into that category, it's absolutely this. Like, we played it for quite a while, and every single game I was figuring out new stuff. Like when they're launching the ball at you and you're not even facing the right way, when the screen starts to tear and goes red around the outside, it means that there's a ball coming for your face, and you better start to block that. So it's definitely a very, 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 very fun game, and I can't wait to be able to play it more.
It's actually really good. If you haven't played this game, do you know what? There was a video embedded in the trailer. In the article. Let me hit play on that. I'm assuming we can get away with. Do you know what? I'm going to turn the volume low, but leave the volume on the Knockout City 1 million beta downloads because it's in-game music from
I don't think it's copyright. Yeah, it does. I don't think it's copyright music.
Sweet. Okay, well, let's put that on the screen so you can see it. But this is actually an incredibly good game. It's so simple. It looks very cartoony and like anime-ish. Not anime. It's a very distinct animated style that's inoffensive, and it looks not necessarily like a game that I'd be fully interested in. When we first saw this, I think it was EA Play last year. And I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. I'm not 100% sure, but do you know, it looks okay. It looks okay. Anyway, played it. It's really good. It looks.
Yeah. My
issue is with games like this that are designed to be for children. Effectively, I don't mean that. I mean like how can I put it? What am I trying to say? Okay, Fortnite is a game that I don't mind. It's not the game I play all the time. I don't mind Fortnite, though. But the stereotyping for Fortnite is that it's a game for 12-year-olds. Fortnite is actually a game for anyone that wants to play it. But the stereotyping of games that often look like they're designed for the younger audiences don't have the depth in them to really have the longevity in the legs for older audiences. And that's kind of what I thought this might have the problem with. And it's not at all. You can like the bit we were saying, that cliche of easy to play, hard to master that everyone wants for their games absolutely applies to this, because you can lob the ball at someone and they can lob it back. Jobs are good. But you can lob the ball at someone. You can do like fucking curve shots, drop shots, fucking spin shots. You can power shots up. You can fake shots, and there's so much depth to it. It was so fun. I mean, if I was playing this for more, I only played it for one weekend, so maybe I'm still in that honeymoon phase of it. When I play this game, which I will be doing because I have EA Play, which is an absolute bargain as well. I mean, Game Pass is a bargain, but EA Play, for 1 year subscription of EA Play, like we got EA Play, I got EA Play just so that me and Bib can play A Way Out. That is worth the 19 quid on its own. Knockout City is also 19 quid, so that's 40 quid's worth of games just there that you get on EA Play. Yeah, you only get it for a year, it costs you another 19 quid then, but yeah, easy, one of the best 19 quids I've spent in video games recently anyway. So looking forward to playing it. I will be playing this. Asim says, fine, I'll try this. Yeah! There we go. So if there was any doubt, we are not anti-EA. I know we kind of like were saying that there was negativity in the first article about one game, but yeah, basically just get rid of Ultimate Team and replace it with Knockout City. Jobs are good and nice. Oh shit!
Easy as that.
In before PAX. No. It's so good though. It's such a fun game. It will be out. Is it May the 21st, 2021? So less than a month. Nice. And then we'll be playing this. We will play a lot of this on stream as well. So if anyone does have EA Play or buys the game or has Xbox Game Pass, it's cross-play. And the biggest thing there for me, cross-progression. Love that. The fact that you can start it on your PC and then continue it on your smart fridge and then get out your calculator or whatever it's on that and play it and continue with the same battle pass progression. Love that. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I will take that. Nice. That's a better example. Carolyn Echo says it has the Arms and Splatoon art style. Yeah, Splatoon is definitely more in line with what I was saying. I was saying kind of Fortnite, but yeah, Splatoon. Splatoon's a good game as well. Didn't hook me. This did. Maybe it's the battle style merged with football, i.e. dodgeball or dodgebrawl, as they called it in the title of this. Love it. That's a winner for me. Love that. Okay, let's move forward. Big resurgence for another game. We did touch on this previously. I assume that will be in the article, but in conversations around the new seasons of Apex, one of the creators basically said you should play some Titanfall. I don't know if that's going to get mentioned in this article, but let's see. As Titanfall 2 sees Steam resurgence with active players up 750%. This is written by Andy Robinson at VGC and Respawn's, actually, price discount and Apex Legends tie-in drive surge in concurrent users. Well, there you go. Answered it already in the tagline. Respawn's 2016 shooter Titanfall 2 has seen a resurgence of player activity on Steam, with concurrent users up by more than 750% compared to 2 weeks ago. The huge rise in interest around the title seems to be driven by a 75% sale price, which went live on April the 15th, according to SteamDB. The discount saw Titanfall 2's active player count jump 650% in 2 days, and shortly after, the game broke its all-time record player count at just under 17,000 players. Although Titanfall 2 was released in 2016, it wasn't added to Steam until last summer. The game's previous all-time concurrent player record was 13,603, achieved shortly after its addition to the platform. The boost in players will also likely have been driven by the recent announcement of new Apex Legends season, which directly references Titanfall characters and story points. The Battle Royale spin-off has more than 100 million players, according to EA. Previous Titanfall 2 discounts have resulted in far smaller increases in active players. Partly due to a tough launch window that saw it compete directly with both Call of Duty and Battlefield, Titanfall 2 sold well, but not as well as Respawn would have liked, the studio said back in 2017. Respawn has previously said it had pushed back plans for new Titanfall games so that it could focus on supporting Apex Legends following the Battle Royale game's explosive growth. And given the continued success of Apex, EA CFO Blake Jorgensen implied in October 2019 that Respawn was unlikely to return to Titanfall 3 in the near future. Quote, "We really want to keep the team hyper-focused on Apex because we see there's so much opportunity there, so I can't give you a sense of if and when Titanfall 3 will come, but it's still a great brand, and we certainly won't forget about it down the road," he said. Let's end there. Titanfall is having a massive resurgence, 750% increase in active players. Huge numbers. What are your thoughts on that, babe?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game that I've slept on. I haven't played this. I know Mr. Bamba threatened to kill me if I didn't play it soon because he said it's one of the best FPSs that he's ever played, and that's coming from someone who doesn't tend to play a lot of them. But yeah, this. I do need to pick it up, and I can see what influence Apex has had in the first person battle royale scene. The fact that Apex was born from the way Titanfall was, and now people are going back to play Titanfall because it's linked to Apex. We can't underestimate how much influence Apex has had and Titanfall to the FPS community.
See, I would be maybe an unpopular opinion. I would say Titanfall isn't as big a game as everyone will claim it is. Let's put it that way. I don't know if that's the right way. Titanfall isn't as big as other games out there. It's a big game, don't get me wrong. Is it a cross-market, a full universal game? No. However, Apex Legends definitely was. Maybe the first Titanfall potentially did. Titanfall 2 definitely didn't capture the imagination. For me, it fell into the same category as other massive games that just didn't do what they should have done. Gears 5 was big. Did it fully take over and win awards and was talked about for months afterwards and has set the bar high of Xbox titles? No. Xbox has had a full generation nearly of games that just weren't quite what they were supposed to be. And that's not necessarily fair on every game as well. I think maybe the fact that Xbox was behind in the generation, their marketing arguably is nowhere near as good as it is now. The stuff that Xbox is doing now outwardly is incredible. So Titanfall 2 moved to Steam, had 13,000 concurrent players. Okay, that's quite a lot for a game that came out in 2016, but not a lot for a game of Titanfall 2's size. I mean, I wonder what numbers Horizon has Horizon moved over yet, and God of War, things like that. I wonder what they got when they first came to Steam. I bet there were more. But the whole thing that I'm trying to say with wrapping this all up is not to stick the boot into Xbox. It's to say that, okay, Titanfall 2 is arguably a great game. I know at least 3 people that say it's in the list of best games ever. Mark Bamba being one, Jim Butters, who may be in the chat, I don't know, and his twin brother Martin, who both absolutely adore that game. So professional and personal contacts that will tell me how good this game is, but I just don't hear it as widely. I mean, people that have played it enjoyed it, but I don't hear as many people have played this before. So the fact that there's been a 750% increase kind of gives me a couple of things. Apex is really good and has done what EA wanted to, and has kind of gone big, wide, far and wide, and that has allowed Titanfall to propel forward. So Titanfall has been successful. The 750% increase because there wasn't enough people playing a game that's as good as it potentially is. I'm saying that because I've not played it. For a game that's as good as it is, not as many people played it as should have. So that's one reason why shitloads more people have played it. That's why there's such a big increase. And obviously, when you're tied to a game that has been successful, then yeah, it's good. So in the same way that we were talking about yesterday, what's not State of Decay? Days Gone. Days Gone is a game that didn't do very well, but had a peak later on because of something outside of Days Gone exposing it to more people. In that case, it was being added to PS Plus, PS Collection. Titanfall 2 being referenced in relation to Apex and getting a discount. That is their PS Plus moment. And it's nice to see it. It's nice to see it. And that could be the thing. We were talking about how Ben Studios want to make Days Gone 2, but Sony aren't playing ball. This could be the thing that makes Titanfall 3 take a little bit of a step closer back to the agenda. Maybe Titanfall wasn't bad. Maybe just the way that it was released was bad, if you get what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I think it does. I hope it does. Nice. It's also free on EA Play via Game Pass. I reinstalled it last week, funnily enough, says Tito. The gunplay mixed with inventive. Actually, one thing I do want to mention as well, obviously, I mentioned Xbox a lot in there. Obviously, the first one was Xbox exclusive. The second one wasn't. I know that because I played a bit of it on my PS4. The reason I pushed with Xbox is just because that's where a lot of the audience and the fan base was, and I don't feel that enough was done to make that break. Whereas, what's it called? Apex never had that fixed to Xbox. That's kind of what I was getting at, but I didn't add that bit in. The gunplay mixed with inventive nature of the level design and mechanics. Titanfall 2, so good. I'm not sure Titanfall was marketed particularly well. Says Tito. Agreed. Ask him the feeling when you rodeo a Titan and drop a grenade through the hatch. I mean, that's the kind of thing. The people that have played it will tell you how good those moments feel. And like, just hearing my mate Martin talking about prepare for Titanfall, that sort of like loud voice snippet kind of thingy that go, like in-game hype moments. There's definitely some cool bits in there. I just don't feel enough people enjoyed it. So it's nice to see that they are doing now. Am I remembering rightly, it clashed with the COD release, even though that COD was a poor iteration? Yeah, it mentioned that in the article. I think it was COD and Battlefield or something like that. Maybe it wasn't Battlefield. It was Battlefield. Another EA game. So, yeah. Yeah, it did. COD and EA's... Oh, there you go. Asim says it. COD and EA's own Battlefield. EA did it dirty. Sad. I never played Titanfall, so I don't know, says Kalineko. Plumrico says, I played the original and it was pretty good. I just know Titanfall because of JT Music. How do you mean? Mr. Benno Wilson. Hey, how's things, dude? Long time no speak. Wagwan.
Hello.
The song. When Titanfall. Okay. I get you. Yeah, different thing. Titanfall is a good game though. It's not a bad game. It's something that I played on my own pretty much, or played a little bit couch caught when Martin was here and didn't really get into it too much. So yeah, it's a good balanced game. It's a good world. It's not a game for me though, because I've told you I'm an angry old man that wants boots on the ground, and that involves not just wall running and not just mech suits, but fucking mech buildings. you're not putting a robot suit on. You're putting a full fucking robot on. So yeah, it's ultimately it'd be something that I could enjoy as a change of pace, but it won't be my main game. All good, thanks, mate. How's things? Yeah, not too bad. Got out into the real world and had a burger last weekend, so life is returning to normality. It's beautiful. But anyway, enough of that. Let's jump into our last bit of news for the day. Let me take the discussing now down and jump into this one on screen. Ryan Gilliam at Polygon says new PlayStation State of Play coming April 29th. So that's just 2 days' time. Focused on Ratchet and Clank. See 15 minutes of Lombax and robot gameplay. How good does this game look? This game, I mean,
Yes.
I've never really been into Ratchet and Clank. I've not played a Ratchet and Clank game previously, but this game looks fucking exceptional. It really does. Anyway, PlayStation will host a new State of Play live stream on Thursday, April 29th. Sony announced in a blog post on Monday. Fans can watch along on PlayStation's Twitch or YouTube channel at 5 p.m. EDT. Do you know what? If anybody knows what EDT translates to in BST, then feel free to share, because I don't know what time that is. I'm assuming it's like late in the evening, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish, somewhere around there, but do let us know. So the new State of Play will focus on Ratchet & Clank, showing off more than 15 minutes of gameplay from the upcoming Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which launches June 11th. Sony just published a short gameplay trailer about Rivet, their character previously only known as female Lombax. Rivet may be a Lombax like Ratchet, but she's from an alternate dimension. She is a playable character in Rift Apart, along with the series' titular heroes. While Ratchet and Clank are the focus of this State and Play, we could see more details for upcoming PlayStation games as well. Fans still haven't seen much from Sony Santa Monica's God of War sequel since its announcement trailer last year, for starters. Housemarque's Returnal also launches a day after the new State of Play, so it may make an appearance as well. And a number of other PlayStation titles might get a mention at this State of Play, like Horizon Forbidden West, Ghostwire Tokyo, or the imminent Resident Evil Village, which you can win by subscribing to the channel. Nice. Sony will likely reveal more details about the new State of Play closer to the virtual event. Close to the virtual event? It's fucking 2 days away. But if you want to find out more information about Ratchet and Clank, April 29th, a new State of Play coming. What do you think of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Are you looking forward to it, babe?
Yes, I played one Ratchet and Clank game, and it was the one that we got given on PlayStation Plus, like way early last year, may have even been the year before, maybe 2019, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good. I've never played one before that. I think it was to do with the movie tie-in. They give it away, but anyway, really enjoyed it. This looks like it's going to be potentially the first game that we get to see the PlayStation 5 use everything that it was intended for. You think?
How do you mean by that?
So, using the SSD for them to be able to not have the loading screens and using the full power of the PlayStation 5, shall we say? Because I don't think this is only a PlayStation 5 game, innit? It's not. Is it coming out on PlayStation 4?
I believe it's only PlayStation 5, and I would say that is because of the way that they use the rifts to alternately change location because of the SSD. It does allow for that. So yeah, I would say so. I think so. That's what I believe from previous.
I think this is probably the biggest game that we're going to be coming out with anyway.
I mean, Returnal does come out like a day after that conference, so like the 30th or whatever it is, and that I believe is a big step closer to next gen-ish sort of stuff. There's been some preview stuff going around, and I don't know. I've not read it enough. The headlines that I've seen are kind of like immersive environments, good storytelling / great use of the dual sense controller. I can't tell you how that works. I don't know what it is. So it's nice to see. It's probably someone pulling back a bow on like a string. Like you can feel the tension. Someone fuck off. It's the only example that you ever cut. But yeah, it's definitely using more of the innards. So let's just say Returnal, if that gives you a more immersive experience using the DualSense controller. We've only had one game really that's done that. Shout out to Astrobot. We love you. So if Returnal gives you that, I'd like to see Ratchet and Clank giving you that too. But yeah, like Baby says, using all of the innards, all of the gibbons, the gubbins even, not gibbons. Gibbons is a monkey. Gubbins of the PS5, using the ray tracing to make it look spectacular, the 4K, 60 FPS plus, and SSD working to the maximum to give us all that gameplay. I'm not generally interested in games that are cartoony, for want of a better word. So when I was talking about not really initially catching my eye with Knockout City, but then going past that, this is another one where I instantly, oh look, Ratchet and Clank, yeah. It's kind of like another game that people loved that I never touched was Banjo-Kazooie. Never played a Banjo-Kazooie game because it was that sort of like, it was kind of Spyro and Crash, which I enjoyed at a younger age. But then when I got older, I didn't want to play that thing again. So I instantly, it's prejudices really. I instantly see that and go, okay, that's just not what I want. But then when I've seen a bit more of Ratchet and Clank, it's like, okay, this maybe is. Maybe it is. It looks pretty good. Stay. Yeah, it's a PS5 exclusive. The devs came out and said that it wouldn't work with the PS4's HDD. Nice. That's kind of what I want to hear, because then that ensures no throttling in the chasing for next gen. Tito says we're 4 hours ahead. So, okay, 5 p.m., which means it'll be 9 p.m. for us. Nice. Cheers, Mr. T. Other Mr. T. Mr. T. No, there we go. Speaking of Mr. T, he says Terry P. Ratchet and Gary Clank. PlayStation UK marketing sorted.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll get exclamation mark Gary Clank set up. We'll get get Craig to get Clank and Gary and merge the pictures together, and we'll have Gary Clank. There we go. Someone mentioned yesterday, it looks like the first game where the cinematics match the gameplay. Insanely good looking. Yes, see, that's a great shout, because you always kind of see in most games the cinematics, you know when you're watching a video and you know when you're playing a game, which is why I really liked Spider-Man, because that game genuinely looks incredible when you play it. And it's one of the few games where like the cutscene merges into the gameplay and you don't get that solid hard cut where, okay, that's me back in the game. Even games like Uncharted, at times you can see the snap where it goes back to being controlled. Just even that smoothly goes into it. So if they can do that even nicer with a bit more polish, then I'll take that. I'm convinced Graham only plays 2 games, PUBG and PES, and State of Decay now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Trilogy.
Representative of in-game experience. No, it's really not. Just show me the damn game. What do you have to hide? Didn't I see that you only recently finished Spider-Man? Yes, I mean, Spider-Man has been on my pile of shame. So I got it on day one. We got it from our lovely friends at Sony, and we did a launch stream. This is how far ago it was. I think it was our 500 follower on Twitch thing. At the same time, we gave a copy of Spider-Man away, and we played it on stream and did the first few hours. So then I then went home to start it on my home PC, so I had to do the first 2 hours again. And obviously, I just made it a little bit tedious for myself by playing 2 hours, stopping, and playing 2 hours. And then at that point, I had to stop for whatever reason. And I just didn't come back to it. So I got Miles Morales, the deluxe edition or whatever, which comes with Spider-Man Remastered for PS5. So I thought, okay, well, that's an excuse to force me to go back through that first 2 hours again. But once I got past that, exceptional. The story on it is really, really good. It's really good. I now have Miles Morales to go. So yeah, I have not a pile of shame, but a mountain of shame. And like, think of any of the big PlayStation releases that people have probably played through. Yeah, I own those. Have I played through them? No. But I own them. Yes, I do. Anyway, on that bombshell, we will put things to bed. The best game I ever played is Octopath Traveler. There's another one I haven't played. Nice. I don't know PlayStation, but I borrowed my friends for 2 weeks and smashed through Spider-Man. It's class. It's class. Genuinely class. It's so cheesy. I've written it down like in tweets to someone. I may have said it on the scoop before. But it's so cheesy to write it down because it just sounds like someone that's just absolutely brown-nosing. But I genuinely was sat in the living room playing this game, and you're just doing things like swinging on your web past all these buildings, these fucking amazing views. And I'm an absolute weapon that doesn't spend my in-game currency on stuff that's useful, like getting new fighting skills. I spent my money on being able to do backflips and stuff while I'm swinging. That was the first thing I purchased, because why not? Obviously. But like just doing, like, there's a dive that you can do to pick up speed, and then a big super swing super high up into the air, and I'm doing backflip spins right next to Avengers Tower, and it just looks fucking incredible. And I genuinely was saying out loud to myself, this game is fucking amazing. But when you put that into writing, when you say, I stopped and genuinely said, this game is fucking amazing, it sounds like one of those, yeah, of course you did, Karen, sort of tweets. Yeah. But genuinely did. It's so good. It looks amazing. I'm glad I played through it anyway. But on that bombshell, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of The Scoop. We have been live for quite a while. We're an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, take off the starting thing. We're probably about an hour and a half on this episode, which always happens when we start talking about FIFA and loot boxes. But it's nice to have the conversation. Nice to have you all here giving us your thoughts and impressions. If you are watching this on demand, then there's a lot of thoughts and impressions that have been shared. But do feel free to watch, to give us your thoughts and impressions. You can do it below in social media and stuff. But maybe I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. A quick reminder that next Monday we will be giving away a copy of Resident Evil Village. It's not out, and it won't be out then either. So we will get your copy booked in for when it does release. the way to get yourself into the hat to win that is just to be a subscriber to the channel. You don't have to sub. We don't ask it for anyone, but the people that do sub, we like to give a little bit of something back. So that's what our loot drop is. Anyone that's a sub and joins our Discord, and then make sure your Twitch and Discord accounts are linked so that they can do all of the back end stuff, you automatically get entered into the giveaway, and we will draw that on Monday. So someone will win a copy of Resident Evil Village and some Resident Evil goodies, TBC, as well. So yeah, feel free to get involved. Thank you very much. Before we disappear, though, we aren't going to come back with any more games. No State of Decay or whatever today, because, you know, it's Tuesday. We do work stuff, so today is the work day. There will be no additional streams today. But we'll be back tomorrow with a scoop, and then some more State of Decay. So if you want to play some games with us on stream, you can join us for State of Decay then. Can I say State of Decay? I think I said State of Decay. Nice. Anyway, before that, Bib, is there anything you want to add?
Yes, again, thank you very much for joining us here on Tuesday. We very much appreciate all your thoughts and impressions. But if you want to get involved with the show and help shape it, there's two ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, as well as getting involved with our Discord. If you are watching this on demand, there is a description at the bottom. Click on there. There's our Discord link. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. Put it into the scoop section on the left-hand side of Discord.
Do it.
We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
12:30. It's not. It's going to be 10. It's going to be 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Accurate.
Ish. 10 a.m. ish. The ish, we do have an emote that says ish, as Gary's just shared in the chat, is because we go live at 10 a.m. ish. It's not always 10 a.m. It's usually a little bit after 10 a.m. because we do the work stuff around it. So 10 a.m. ish. Just get your notifications on and you will be notified when we do go live. If you have been here through today's show and you haven't followed, do feel free to press the follow button. It doesn't cost you a penny and it does help us out a lot, and we love to have you back here. So nice. We are going to follow to drop a raid on someone else though. So if you are new here and you would like to sub to the channel but you can't, well, we can't afford to give everyone a free sub because that would be, you know, madness. But if you do stick around for long enough, if you check the channel points, there is a redeem a free subscription element. So if you stick around the channel for long enough and get your views in, then we will give you a free sub. So feel free to do things like going along in the raids, which we're about to do now. We're going to raid one of our friends, give them a few extra views, and that does get you a few extra channel points. So yeah, would love you to do that. Stick around for the raid. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day. We'll see you at 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow. Please remember to stay frosty.
Stay frosty.